Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Smackdown March 22nd. Sorry, I'm not feeling well. I did say on I took some medicine, so I'm a little wiped out right now. But I want to do my video, just like on Monday with Raw. That's what it was. I am willing to suffer for y'all because I love doing my reviews and to give you some good content. And unfortunately, for the last couple of days, I have been feeling really funny. And by Friday into Saturday, I have been sick. That's the reason why this is being uploaded late Sunday night. I just couldn't function very well. So if I'm a little zonked during this review of SmackDown, please bear with me. I'm doing my best here. So this SmackDown, what did we get? Did we get a good show? We got a couple of good little nuggets in this show. A couple of gold nuggets. Not very big, just small little nuggets. But I can say that there were a few in there. One is now Fandango versus Chris Jericho. I would have liked Fandango to attack Chris Jericho during the triple threat between The Miz, him, and Wade Barrett. But it didn't happen. But it did happen when you got the Trucker, Jack Swagger, and Chris Jericho match. And I wish to say again, Zed he comes through for the Trucker, Jack Swagger. Without Zed there, Jack would not be over as much as a heel that he is now. They talk about what they did to Ricardo Rodriguez, which was a good thing, how Ricardo screamed like a champ. What's going to happen to ADR? They did good. The match itself it's like what happened last time. The same kind of match they had before. The only difference is what I wanted for the triple threat happened here. I really believe it would have been better at the triple threat to make it more apparent that Chris Jericho got screwed by this man because he pissed him off because he kept fucking with his name. I would have liked Fandango to fuck with him on Raw. It would make better sense. But having it here, it's still going to do what it needs to do. As I said for so many months, I believe that Fandango was going to have a WrestleMania match. That would be his first match. Johnny Curtis would have his match at WrestleMania. They are pushing him. And I said it before and I'll say it again. This match is going to happen at WrestleMania. Now we know it's going to be with Chris Jericho. There's no one else that he's going to screw with. It's not going to be Brodus Clay. It's not going to be Tensai. And it's definitely not going to be the Great Khali. It's going to be Chris Jericho. And I'm so happy about this. But I'm not happy that there's not enough build. We have less than 2 weeks. They could have started this a week before. In other words, they could have started this at Raw. The week before the triple threat. They could have done it. They could have started something there. But they decided to do it so late. I really think the writing team really doesn't pay attention to what they're doing. And if it's Mr. McMahon himself, he really needs to take his Geritol, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not bashing totally on Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He still has to sign off on this. But I can tell you this. Really, he needs to pay better attention if he's involved in creative. Because some of these things are so late in the game, it'll still work to a point, but it could have been better weeks or months ahead. Now, the Miz segment. I'm going to get this over with. The Miz segment early in the show with Sheamus and Randy Orton was actually not bad. When the Big Show came out and said, you know what? Look at me. I can do the job. Randy Orton, who was known not to really back people, has now backed the Big Show. They seem to be buddies. Okay, that's not too bad for the storyline. You're going to have one combatant against two who are somewhat good buddies. And seeing Sheamus and Show at odds with one another is actually good for the storyline. It's a great storytelling. Not that bad. It would have been better if this was done about a month ahead. To give it more time to stew. To give more time for Sheamus and Big Show to finally become cohesive enough that they could become a team. Unless they're going to have them fight one another again, which I really don't want to see. But I wish it could have been done ahead of time. They had at least a month ahead They could have done this earlier at Elimination Chamber, but I really feel like the writing team is behind. I just don't know. Now, the Antonio Vazado versus Miz with Wade Barrett on commentary was good. Seeing Miz use a figure 4 twice against Antonio was good. It's very good to see that he's using a move that the great Ric Flair. I'm wheeling, dealing, whining and dining, flying jets. I am true Space Mountain. I would want to cover those women. I would know a couple of dozen women that had rode the Space Mountain of Ric Flair when I was in my teens, ladies and gentlemen. When he was in, and he was over in his show back in the 80s, all those women that were around him, all those sexy black and white women, it didn't make a difference what color they were. There, he had some good ass looking women back on that show. I wished I had been the Ric Flair with the Space Mountain slong. I would have loved that. But you know what? I am glad he passed the figure 4 off to somebody. Like I said, I really believe the best person that should have gotten that move was Edge. Edge had the best potential to really carry the figure 4. But as we know, Edge is badly injured and he can't come back to wrestling anymore. He's done. So the best second person I believe to get that move was The Miz. Like I said before, The Miz, who came up from reality television, came into wrestling, and really many people didn't think he would get anywhere. It's good to see that they gave it to the right person. I really do believe it's the right person to give it to. And seeing that The Miz and Wade Barrett is having a challenge at WrestleMania, in other words, they're going to go up against each other, is good. But there's one problem. Who is Antonio Vazado going up against? Antonio's gone for a huge amount of people. Of course, he had to job to Randy Orton, then job a couple of people. But the question now is, who is he going up against? They're not going to actually put R-Truth to him again. I would be upset if they put R-Truth on him because they were teasing what was going to go on with Damien Sandow between him. And if they throw him and Antonio because they had some past history, really makes me feel like they're really not thinking about what they need to do for WrestleMania. It's really very sad. And the Teddy Long, no, let me get this straight first. I'm glad Booker T is going into the Hall of Fame. And again, they showed the Hall of Fame for Booker T. As you saw in my Raw review, King Booger, told you I'm a little groggy right now. King Booger, Hall of Fame. We dig it. Made me very happy to see. Booker T has held almost every championship belt WCW and WWE has ever had, except for one for WWE. And that was the WWE title. Now, I said before, I really feel really bad that he never had that title, but for such a wide range of titles he's held and how much he's been promoted from both companies, he almost doesn't need it. People respect him. They respect him in WCW. They respect him in the WWE. Whatever promotion he had before that, they respect him as well. So him not having the title, which he could still get it later in years. He's about 44 years old right now, ladies and gentlemen, I believe. 44 or 45. He's still young enough to work a good match. Booker T is still young enough. He's not like in his 50s. He is nearing 50 right now. And that could be an issue if he still can't go in the ring. But it looks like he still can. So in the next couple of years, who says we couldn't have a WWE champion in a Booker T? It could still happen. And I believe then, being a WWE Hall of Famer will mean a lot more. Because finally, he was allowed to have the brass ring that he's been denied for quite a while. And going to the next part that I talked about, Teddy Long between Booker T. They're still teasing the possibility of a Booker T Teddy Long feud. A power grab for SmackDown, as you will. I said this before and I'll say it again. They need to turn Teddy completely heel for this and then let him team up with someone who's evil enough as a wrestler to help put him over as a manager. Because when it comes down to it, they're not going to take Booker T off of SmackDown, the general manager position. If they do, it will have to be in a way that Teddy Long will get over as a heel. Because I don't see Booker T turning heel here. It has to be Teddy. Now, who would I believe would be the best person to do that? Could be Mark Henry. Because they do have a very good history together. It's hard to say if it wouldn't be. I think it will be possible that Mark Henry will have a Teddy Long as a manager again. And that would make some sense. Once whatever happens with Ryback is done, who says Teddy Long and Mark Henry cannot go and then get a championship title match with whoever wins, if it's Swagger or ADR? Now, moving on to that, talking about Mark Henry. Mark Henry versus Zack Ryder and the internet champion of the universe. He had a belt on his I don't know what possessed him to decide to wear a belt on his trunks. But it was interesting, particularly when he got the Hall of Pain, not once, not twice, but pretty much a 3-time induction to the Hall of Pain. That made me happy until Ryback came down. And then Ryback basically standing there breathing like he got asthmatic, or sorry, still sick, breathing like that, and then gives a meat hook clothesline to a Mark Henry. Who the fuck he think he is? Mark Henry cannot be defeated that easy about just one clothesline. That's the reason why he left the ring and pointed towards the WrestleMania sign and said, "We gonna have our match, boy. The match is coming. And I'm gonna take it behind the woodshed." As the great Hall of Famer JR always said, he's gonna be taken behind the woodshed and gonna be spanked on that ass. That's gonna happen, ladies and gentlemen. That's a lot to say. Okay, let's move on here, ladies and gentlemen. The next one is, you know what, I'm going to get this done now since I already talked about this. At least I think I did. With the Miz segment with Randy Orton and Sheamus. And Sheamus, no, actually I did that in the previous video. This is the first time I'm talking about it. I'm sorry. At least I think I am. I'm really not feeling well. So, if I said this and I'm repeating it, I'm sorry. The match for Sheamus, Randy Orton, and Big Show versus The Shield. Since the Miz segment was only supposed to support the conflict between Sheamus and the Big Show, this is what it's supposed to promote. The match itself did the exact same thing. You saw a lot of conflict between the Sheamus and the Big Show. Big Show trying to be the good guy. Sheamus trying to be the one that's causing the conflict. And in the end, Big Show gets a kick in the face by Ginger. Sheamus tags him, does a blind tag, and then takes out Heath Slater. I believe he did. So Big Show gets pissed about that. He's ready to take off Sheamus's head. You got Randy Orton in the mix, who basically going, "Oh, hell no, you did not." And then shoves Big Show, and they're about to beat the shit out of each other until the Shield came down to force them to be together temporarily. Now, I did see the backstage fallout between, actually, the backstage fallout for the Big Show. I did look at it. And it's understandable, the backstage fallout video. I'm sorry. Ooh, I feel so sick. I'm sorry. But, that segment would have been better on the show. It would have been better to have a Matt Striker do a video of interview segment on the show. They could have cut some of the video segments from Raw to give the Big Show that opportunity to talk. You could have had Fandango with Chris Jericho and the trucker Jack Swagger as the last match. That's good for Jack Swagger, but it would have been great for Chris Jericho and Fandango so they could have more hype for the next Raw. you could have intermixed them both, and then you could have had the interview segment with a Matt Striker for what happened on the fallout for the WWE. I really felt they should have did this on the show, not in a video segment on YouTube. Look, I've said this before and I say it again. WWE is overextending themselves with all these shows. No one can keep up with absolutely everything and keep up to date without having some type of problems or confusion. The WWE needs to pull back on some of their shows. When it comes to the YouTube shows, they need to pull back on some and show them on the show. Cut out putting the Vault on SmackDown. Cut out putting the Raw Rewinds on SmackDown. And this leads me into the next thing. The Rock and Cena segment again. As I said in my Raw review, they need to do a new video. Now, we know that The Rock's going to be showing on Raw, but the question's not about The Rock being seen again or John Cena again. It's about what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. Are they going to continue showing that same video segment? Like I said before, I thought they were going to do a Rocky type of theme video segment hyping the WrestleMania. If they actually think that this is going to keep working for another 2 weeks, the WWE has got another thing coming. People are going to get tired of that. They need a new, fresh video. And putting an in-ring segment with Rock and Cena is not going to be enough. They need to make another video. So when The Rock comes back, hopefully he's already been back, and he did another video with John Cena with new music, it will give us more of a hype. Seeing the same song again that was shown on I Am Number 4, Envelopes in the Sky, is not enough. You need more, and this isn't enough. It's not. Now, let me see here. Alright, it's time to get to the one I've been waiting for. This is very surprising. Now, I don't think I said this, but anyone tell me below if Caitlyn and Layla was seen on this SmackDown. Like I said, I was sick, so I really couldn't focus very well on the show. Like I said, I fell asleep a couple of times on it. So I did not see a Caitlyn or a Layla being shown. But what I did see was Nikki and Brie Bella with the Rhodes Scholars. And they're talking in the ring. Rhodes Scholars did well. Now, I think the teasing between a Damian and a Cody may come after WrestleMania. Because this entire segment of the ring, outside the ring, and the fight between Brie Bella and, well, the Bella Twins and the Funkadactyls was only for them. This is the first time that I've seen in quite a while that we now have a possible tag team feud with women. When was the last time you've seen this, ladies and gentlemen? You have not. Seeing the Bella Twins up against the Funkadactyls is actually going to be, I believe, more interesting than the Layla and Caitlyn feud when it finally gets started. Because I think they won't start this until the week before WrestleMania 29. And that will be stupid. This should have already been started for quite a while. But Caitlyn and Layla have not been started. They've teased it. So they're going to have 2 weeks to try and build this, which is stupid. But at least I can say with the Bella Twins and the Funkadactyls, they did do something the last couple of weeks to actually start the fight, and it led into this. The Rhodes Scholars, the intellectual savior of the masses, and Mustachio Master. And I will be bringing that up in a minute. What's in the title, because I'm putting it down there. Once both groups were in the ring, it wasn't even long. This was an extremely short match. It was a double countout before... sorry. Breathe. That didn't help either. Alright. What happened here is this. The match was short because Brie Bella, I believe... Brie Bella started trying to mess in the ring, so a Naomi grabbed the ankles of her and started pounding on her. And then Nikki Bella tried to pull off her top, which I think everybody really wanted the most. And then the lovely, the gorgeous Cameron started pounding on a Nikki Bella. And once that started, Tensai and Clay came out, the Rhodes Scholars came out, and pretty much the brawl started in the floor. And that was the end of that. Rhodes Scholars lead with the Bellas, and they had to hold back the Funkadactyls. And I wish to say, ending this last segment, the raging ring boner of the WWE has now passed on to the next person. As you will always remember, I, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, had a good friend, a good confidant, the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. Now you could not see if he had a ring boner, but his son, his youngest, his Cody Rhodes, had in his white trunks a nice small little ring boner as he went up against the Brodus Clay. Yes, he did, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the tape. Look and see for yourself that as they put the camera on the angle, and I'm not no freak, ladies and gentlemen, but it's impossible to hide a bulge going sideways on your pants. That was a raging ring boner. Now, he could have got it from one of the Bellas. He could have got it from the crowd, because the crowd, I didn't say this, but the crowd was very loud, was very good throughout the night. So he could have got it from the excitement of the crowd. He could have got it from the excitement of one of the Bellas, because that Bella was rubbing all over him. I think that's the one that John Cena was having some interest in. I could be wrong, tell me below. But pretty much, you got a little arm in there, ladies and gentlemen. So what was the rating for this show? B-. I would have made it a C+. But seeing the Bellas against the Funkadactyls could actually be a good feud. Seeing that Fandango going against Chris Jericho is actually going to be a good feud. Unfortunately, they're not going to leave it long enough to really stew. The conflict between Sheamus and Big Show is a good thing. I do hope the last 2 weeks that they'll continue it until the last Smackdown, when they could get on the same page. I hope beyond shit they do not have a Sheamus and a Big Show feud after WrestleMania. I don't want to see these two fighting one another again. It's been too long. But throughout the night, it hasn't been bad. I'm hoping they'll have Antonio Vazzalo against someone credible, not a R-Truth, please. No R-Truth, please. I don't want seeing R-Truth with Antonio. They had their chance with R-Truth and they wouldn't let him win it. At least then they could have done something with Antonio. So I really hope they don't do this. But this is how I rate the show, a B-. Now I hope you enjoyed the Zane's View. Subscribe and comment to my channel. I can't do the screen today. I really am totally zonked. I'll be doing my Raw review. Hopefully I'll feel a little better. If I don't, it might be a little late. I'm very sorry, because I'm going to be going to a doctor and getting some antibiotics because I am totally messed up. You have a good evening and take care, ladies and gentlemen. And if I forgot anything in this show, I'm very sorry. Just tell me what I missed below and I'll do my best not to mess up the next time. See you soon.